Okay, what's up, people? The most important part about this whole Windows process is the backup and restore. So we're going to go through the backup right now, and there's 3 built-in ways to back up. So let's get into it right now. And we're going to plug in the passport drive, which is the one I'm going to use to demonstrate with. It's just a 1 terabyte drive, and for this demonstration, that's going to be plenty big. And it should ask me which device or desktop it wants to connect to, either the virtual one or the... When we plug it in, it asks us what do you want to do with this drive? Let me go into it. Hopefully I didn't lose that option. It looks like I did. Okay, so let's go to backup. Let's go to start and type backup. Then we'll have to select the drive from there. And so we're going to back up using file history. And in this case, this is kind of like a real-time backup where it's going to back up on the schedule and frequency that you choose. I think by default, the schedule is every hour. And this is going to allow you to go back in time and restore files that have been backed up every hour. So let's see here. What do we want to back up? So by default, it's going to back up save games, links, downloads, favorites, contacts, OneDrive, desktop, 3D objects, whatever that is, searches. So basically everything in your profile, it's going to back up. One of the things you might want to consider backing up, if you have a Dropbox, you might want to add that. You might need to add that to this list. Also, you might want to add Google Drive profile directory if you use Google Drive or Dropbox. You can add files right here with the add a folder. And you can also exclude folders. If there's files that you don't care about that are just too big and cumbersome, you might not want to use, or you might not want to back up certain folders. And they could be even folders or subdirectories in the main folders. All right, so if we click, we can click backup now if we want to do it manually. Otherwise, it's going to do this backup every hour as long as that drive is connected. So in this case, the defaults are every hour, but you have other options from 10 minutes to daily and 12 hours. So I guess it's 10 minutes to 24 hours. And you can determine how many months or years these backups are kept. Now, if you just choose forever, which is the default, it's basically only going to keep your backups until that storage device is full. So if we do run a backup now, and I don't have any data, so I guess it's not going to back up anything. Let's see, do I have data? Well, I guess I don't. Let's see. I'm really not paying attention. Oh yeah, I do have data. So I put data on here just to demonstrate some things. And I can see the drive flashing, indicating that it is actually backing up. See, it reads backing up your data here. So I can ignore that for now. That's the first level of backup, and that's real-time backup. So that's just going to be something that you're going to set up, and then you're going to forget it as long as your backup drive is connected to your computer. There's the another is a recovery. The recovery drive is basically like an installation disk. So I do not want to do that. I can open System Restore, but I don't want to do a restore quite yet. So this recovery drive is basically creating a boot disk. So we've already created that in the previous videos. And this is just another way to create a recovery drive. But there is a Windows recovery method that I'd like. Okay, restore point is different than system recovery. So this is what I wanted to show you, restore point. Restore points when you hit F8, when you're booting into Windows, you hit F8 to go back in time. So for example, if you installed software that you didn't mean to install, it was a mistake, you can go back in time and use a restore point to basically eliminate that software. This is especially helpful if you download or click on the wrong thing and you realize you just infected yourself with some spyware or virus. You can use a restore point to go back in time. Now, this doesn't always work to recover from a recent infection, but it is a good first step. So let's do a test restore point. There we go. Create a system image. So what I was looking for, and it took me a little while to find it, it's the old backup and restore from Windows 7, which is indicated by the parentheses Windows 7. So we want to create a system image. And again, the repair disk is basically that recovery drive, or basically the boot media that we created a couple of videos ago. So we want to, let's see, where do you want to save the backup? On the G drive, yes. And then we want to click next, and we want to click, well, we don't need to click anything. It already knows that we need to back up the entire system. So it says any existing system images on this machine or for this machine might be overwritten, which is fine. We always want the most recent healthy image. So that's the 3 different ways. So we want to run the backup, which is the backup of the files, which is right here. Then we have the recovery and restore that's built into Windows 10, which is recovery right here. And it's creating restore points here. So if we want a system restore, if we actually want to run the restore program, we click this button called system restore. If we want to create a new restore point, we can hit the create button, name it with whatever you want to name it with. I usually name it with a date, and you can name it like with the program you just installed, or sorry, you can name it with the program you're going to install and the date, or just the date as you feel necessary for your records. And then if you want to configure how much disk space you're using for this, you can use this measure right here to add or subtract how much disk space you're going to give to the recovery or the restore process. And then we go over to the function that I was having a hard time finding, which is the looking for the older backup. Yes, the backup and restore from Windows 7 is what we want here. And that's in the control panel, I think. Let's check. Yep, it's right here. Backup and restore from Windows 7. Sorry, it's not from Windows 7. The program is carried over from Windows 7. It doesn't have anything to do with Windows 7 except for it's just a program that was first available on Windows 7. And the one thing to keep in mind is you just need a drive that's going to act as your backup. And you might be able to add multiple drives so you can rotate them around. You'll just see a list of drives, for example. See, it shows that this is the drive name and then the drive letter, and then the drive letter's there, and it's calculating the space. You can probably have more than one drive right in this list, and it'll just back up for you whatever's connected, or to whatever's connected. And now it's asking if you want to create a system repair disk, which is what we already have. It's just basically a bootable disk, which we have on the reinstall disk that we created a couple of videos ago. So if you don't have that, or you erased it, put in a boot disk or a boot drive and create one now. Click yes rather than no. Now the most important part about this is the schedule, making sure this runs on a regular basis. So let's create an entire backup of files and the image. So it'll be a complete recovery. So what we want to do is we want to go to backup. Well, not backup setting. Let's go into control panel and the backup and restore from Windows 7 and set up backup. So we're able to do set up a backup. This is the backup drive we've nominated to use for previous backups. And then we're going to choose. And so we want to have all of the libraries, back up all data for newly created users, and then we can get specific. If you want to back up something else specifically, we can dig through the C drive or the system disk and back up whatever we want to select. But the things you want the most are all the user files, which are up here. And then we have include a system image of drives in the EFS system partition, which in this case is C. Click next. So we're backing up all users, we're backing up the system image. And then we want to change the schedule. So we're going to run the backup every week on Sunday let's do it in the morning. Click OK. And it's just telling you that the system disk will be overwritten over and over and over. So every time it backs up, it'll overwrite the system image. And it's telling you here that you need to, it's required that you have a system repair disk, which is a boot disk. You already have the boot disk if you followed along with 2 videos ago, maybe 3 videos ago, where we created a bootable and installable Windows USB media or USB boot disk. But there are other ways too. If you don't have that boot disk anymore, you can create a boot disk in the system. And I've showed you that a couple different times in this video. So we have save settings and run backup. And that's going to cover all your bases. That's going to cover everything, meaning it's going to cover your system disk and your user data, which I think is a more complete way of doing everything. But they have 3 options that are built into Windows. And I'm going to give you one more that's completely manual. So maybe it'll seem unnecessary to some of you, but the people who really want the control are going to like it. So in this case, I created a little bit of a test script right here. And let's see, confirm that it's G that I'm backing up to. Yeah, the G drive. So you want to set the drive letter or the drive itself. And I'm going to back up everything to test 2 or backup test 2. And then we're going to run this copy command. And you can see it's represented right here, which is in this user profile documents is going to back up to the backup drive, which we've determined is this drive right here, G/backup test. And that's going to be saved to my documents. And then we have favorites, And so it's basically just going to copy my entire profile. And then I've commented out these lines down here, but you can use these if you want to. This is backup for the Dropbox, backup for Google Drive, which this computer doesn't have. So I'm going to leave that commented out. And we can run that script by clicking on it, or we can run it by command. I'm going to run it by the command line. Oh man. So we want to run Windows backup script.bat. And so that's going to copy file by file from the profile into the drive. And I'll show you that right now. Okay, so everything's right here. You see that I had things in my documents just a test. And I had things in pictures maybe. Let's see. That was just a test, like I said. So that's going to back up that data right there. And all you need to do, I'm going to copy this script file into the bottom of the description, in the very bottom, in between the double lines. I'll put double lines around it. So you don't need the double lines. You just need the echo off all the way down to echo backup complete and at pause, the at pause sign. So backup. So I basically just copy all this stuff. And you can remove as many lines as you want. You don't need to use these lines. You can back up one folder, 2 folders, or your entire profile. It's up to you. But here's how you create the script. So you go to the desktop, right click, go to new, and then go to text document. We're going to call it test script. And I'm going to open that. I'm going to copy all the contents. In your case, you're going to grab the contents from the description, copy, put it right here. And here's the most important part, or it will not work. You have to get File, Save As. You have to change this text document or text document.txt to all files. And then in the file name, you need to change that to whatever your file name is, .bat, and save that. Just make another test. I'm going to call it testing script. So now I just created a new backup drive, and I'm going to save that. And there's the new script. You see how the icon changes? It was this text file icon, and now it's changed to this batch icon, which is basically 2 sprockets in a square. And you can, let's do it the same way. Let's go into the command line, and it's called test. And it's going to back up the exact same way to a new folder because I named the backup drive something different. So it created a new backup directory. So it says it backup complete, press any key to continue, which is just return in my case. I like pressing return. And let's go to my computer and then click on testing script folder, and it backed up the files again, same as it did before. And that's how you can manually back up folders to a drive that you nominate, and it'll back up, like I showed you, it'll back up any folders you want based on the lines there and all the commands. And then you'll have a way to see what was actually backed up, because you can just browse those folders. You can just see it's an exact duplicate or replica of your profile. And that's Windows backup, 4 different ways. There's 3 built-in backups and 1 scripted backup. And you can get the script again between the 2 double lines in the very bottom of the description.